The greatest lie you have ever accepted is that every thought inside your head belongs to you. Stop for a moment. Have you ever been driving or washing dishes or sitting in perfect silence when suddenly a wave of rage or despair or terror washes over you? There is no external trigger, no logical reason. Just a sudden, violent shift in frequency that tightens your chest. You tell yourself it's stress. You tell yourself it's just modern anxiety. But the truth is far more predatory. That was not an emotion. That was an intrusion. Imagine your mind is a private room. You think you hold the only key. But there are entities, invisible architects of chaos, who possess a master key. They enter, they overturn the furniture of your psyche, they plant a seed of fear, and then they leave before you even notice they were there, leaving you to clean up the mess and blame yourself for being unstable. But listen closely, because this shift in perspective changes everything. They do not attack you because you are weak. They attack you because you are food. You are carrying a frequency, a divine spark, that they are desperate to consume but cannot create themselves. You are not a patient suffering a disorder. You are a battery being drained. And that sudden, unexplainable chaos, that is the confirmation that you are exactly who this teaching is for. But this raises a haunting question. If you possess this divine spark, why do you feel so defenseless against these attacks? Why was the manual for your own spiritual defense missing? The answer lies in a fire-started one, 600 years ago. In 367 AD, when Bishop Athanasius ordered the burning of Gnostic texts, he wasn't just destroying theology. He was trying to erase a weapon, a specific 3-word code that stops these parasitic feeds instantly, without priests, without rituals, and without permission. Today, we are going to put that weapon back in your hands. To understand the cure, you must first understand the infection. Most spiritual seekers make a fatal mistake. They believe they are fighting a battle of strength. They think they need to be stronger, purer, or more disciplined to stop these attacks. But this is not a contest of muscle. It is a contest of frequency. Think about how these entities, what the Gnostics identified as Archon parasites, actually function. They exist in a state of absolute exile. They are cut off from the monad, the eternal source. Their entire existence is defined by isolation. Because they are cut off, they cannot generate life force. They can only steal it. But here is the catch. They cannot digest unity. Source energy, in its pure form, is like raw sunlight. To a parasite that lives in the shadows, direct sunlight is not food. It is poison. It burns them. To feed on you, they must first downgrade your energy. They need to break the signal of your divine spark down into something lower, denser, and fragmented. This explains the pattern that confuses so many chosen ones. Have you ever noticed that you are attacked most viciously right after a major spiritual breakthrough or a day of pure joy? You think, I was doing so well, why is this happening? It is happening because you were doing well. Your light became too bright for them to consume. So they initiate consciousness hacking. The attack you feel, that sudden anxiety, that crushing weight of unworthiness, is a biological necessity for them. They are trying to force your consciousness to shift from a state of oneness to a state of separation. Notice the pattern of the intrusive thoughts. They are never inclusive. They are always isolating. You are alone. Nobody understands you. You are different, broken, separate. This is not just negative self-talk. It is a prism. Just as a prism breaks white light into fragmented colors, these thoughts break your unified power into fragmented emotions like fear, shame, and rage. Once your energy is fractured into these lower states, it becomes edible. They are not judging you. They are preparing a meal. And this leads us to the terrifying realization: the pain you feel is not the attack itself. The pain is the digestion process. But this mechanism has a flaw. a fatal vulnerability that they desperately hide from you. Because their entire survival depends on illusion, the moment you introduce a frequency of absolute truth, their operating system doesn't just struggle, it crashes. They are running a software of separation. You are about to introduce a command code of unity, and the two cannot coexist in the same space. Here is the code. It is deceptively simple, but do not let its simplicity fool you. In the ancient Nag Hammadi libraries, truth was often hidden in plain sight, camouflaged so that the uninitiated would walk right past it. The three words are light and stillness. Now, pause. Do not click away thinking you have the full answer. Knowing the words is not the same as wielding them. If you speak these words as empty sounds, they remain inert. You must understand the quantum physics behind them to activate their power. If you do not load the words with the correct intention, you are merely vibrating air, not severing cords. Let's look at why this works. Light is the active principle. It is consciousness expanding, creating, revealing. It is the masculine force of the divine. Stillness is the receptive principle. It is consciousness resting, observing, holding space. It is the feminine depth of the divine, but the weapon, the actual dagger that severs the Archon attachment, is the word in the middle. And, in the Archon's world, the matrix of duality, things are always split. It is light or dark, good or bad, safe or threatened. They rule through division. But when you say light and stillness, you are doing something impossible in their reality. You are holding two opposing states in perfect union simultaneously. You are creating a quantum superposition. You are declaring, I am the motion and I am the pause. I am the force and I am the void. You are recreating the frequency of the monad, the original source before the fracture. This is where the distinction must be made, and it acts as a safety mechanism. If a person without the divine spark, what the ancients called a hylic, speaks these words, nothing happens. To them, they are just sounds. But you, when you speak them, something different happens. Because you are not just saying the words, you are remembering the coordinates of your home. Your voice acts as the carrier wave. But your spark provides the authentication key. The moment those words leave your lips, you stop broadcasting the signal of a victim. You start broadcasting the signal of a creator. And entities that feed on fear cannot tolerate the proximity of a creator. It is like running a high-voltage current through a low-voltage wire. The wire doesn't just get hot, it melts. The attachment snaps, not because you fought it, but because you became a frequency that physically repels it. Now, a warning. The first time you attempt to use this, do not expect it to be easy. You are going to encounter a wall. You will be in the middle of a mental spiral, feeling the heat of anxiety or the cold grip of depression. And you will remember this video. You will remember the three words. But when you try to open your mouth, your throat will tighten. A thought will hiss in your ear. This is stupid. This is just words. It won't work. You will feel a sudden, intense urge to stay silent, to just curl up and endure the pain. Recognize that resistance. That is not you being skeptical. That is the entity panicking. That physical constriction in your throat is their last line of defense. They are trying to jam the signal before you can broadcast it. They know that once you bridge the internal world of thought with the external world of sound, their hold on you evaporates. So you must push through that wall. It doesn't matter if your voice shakes. It doesn't matter if you feel foolish. Open your mouth and speak. Here is the protocol. Do not rush. Do not mumble. First, Stop moving. Break the physical loop. Take one deep breath to reset your nervous system. Then, speak with authority. Say, light. Let the word hang in the air. Feel it ignite the space around you. Say, and. Feel the bridge connecting the heavens to the earth. Say, stillness. Feel the anchor dropping, grounding you into absolute stability. You must speak it aloud. This is non-negotiable. Vibrational frequency is physics, not philosophy. Thinking the words keeps the energy trapped in the mental plane, the very playground where the Archons operate. But speaking them brings the energy into the physical dimension, where you are the master. The moment you finish that third word, watch what happens. It won't be a gradual fade. It will be a sudden cut. The mental chatter, the loops, the accusations, the noise will vanish as if someone severed the power cord. You will hear a silence so loud it might startle you. Your shoulders will drop. Your jaw will unclench. That silence is the sound of the parasite detaching. It has lost its grip because the surface it was clinging to just became frictionless. It feels like a vacuum sealing shut. You haven't just protected yourself. You have made yourself uninhabitable to the lower astral. But there is a trap you must navigate immediately after you decide to speak. This is the most sophisticated layer of their defense mechanisms. It is called the decoy of reason. Here is what usually happens. You recognize the attack. You prepare to speak light and stillness, but right before you do, your mind offers you a puzzle to solve. A thought appears, urgent and loud. Wait, why am I feeling this? Is it because I didn't meditate enough? Is it my shadow self trying to teach me a lesson? Is it the coffee? Is it the astrology? Is it karmic debt? Listen to me carefully. Analysis is paralysis. In the moment of an attack, asking why is not wisdom, it is a distraction. The Archons know that chosen ones are obsessed with growth, with learning, with being good, so they weaponize your desire for growth. They disguise the attack as a lesson. They lure you into the labyrinth of your own psychology, hoping you will sit there for 3 hours analyzing your childhood trauma instead of deploying your weapon. As long as you are analyzing, you are not engaging your authority. As long as you are thinking, you are in their territory. You must become ruthless with your attention. The time for shadow work is when you are calm and safe. The time for analysis is when the perimeter is secure. But when the alarm is ringing, you do not analyze the fire. You extinguish it. Do not fall for the decoy of trying to understand the attack while it is happening. That curiosity is implanted. It is a delay tactic designed to keep you processing data instead of wielding power. When the wave hits, suspend your intellect. Suspend your need to be logical. Whatever story your mind is telling you about why you are upset, drop it. It is likely a fabrication to justify the energy drain. Treat the negative thought not as a valid concern to be debated, but as a foreign object to be removed. First, clear the field with the words. Only later, from a place of silence and sovereignty, do you look back. But you will often find that once the entity is gone, the lesson disappears too, because it was never yours to begin with. Stopping the attack is only the first step. If you leave the door unlocked after chasing the intruder out, they will return the moment you look away. You must seal the chamber. This is the advanced protocol used by the inner circle of the Gnostic mystery schools. It operates on the rule of 3. One utterance interrupts the signal. The attack collapses, but immediately after, speak the words a second time. This seals your auric field. It establishes a protective membrane around your consciousness that makes reattachment nearly impossible for hours. And if the assault is severe, If you feel you are in a location dense with dark energy, or facing an individual who is completely possessed by Archon parasites, speak them a third time. The third utterance shifts you from defense to offense. You are no longer just protecting yourself, you are broadcasting a shockwave. You become energetically expensive to them. Entities operate on a basic economy of energy. If it costs them more pain to be near you than the energy they can extract from you, they will flee. You become a repelling force. This power extends beyond your own body. You can use this for others. Have you ever seen a loved one suddenly snap? Their eyes change. Their voice sounds different. They spiral into irrational rage or terror. You try to reason with them, but it fails, because you are trying to reason with a parasite. Next time, do not argue. Center yourself and speak the words into the space between you. Light and stillness. You are not exorcising them. You are changing the atmosphere of the room. You are flooding the environment with a vibrational frequency that the entity cannot breathe in. Often the person will stop mid-sentence, look confused, and calm down instantly. They won't know why, but you will. You just evicted the tenant driving their behavior. And this is exactly why the establishment burned the books. Think about it. If you knew, truly knew, that 3 simple words spoken with authority could end spiritual oppression instantly, what happens to the industry of fear? You wouldn't need to buy protection amulets. You wouldn't need to pay for endless healing sessions. You wouldn't need an intermediary priest to plead with God for your safety. The institutions that claim to protect you actually need you to remain vulnerable. They need you to believe that spiritual warfare is a complicated, endless struggle that requires their help. They lied. The struggle is only endless if you fight on their terms. But when you remember your origin, when you use the codes of the monad, the war is over. You don't win by fighting in the dark. You win by turning on the light. The Archons are not conquerors. They are shadows. And shadows have no power over a sun that has remembered how to shine. We are at the threshold. You now possess the key that Athanasius tried to burn, but possession is nothing without execution. The Archons are watching you right now. They are betting on your hesitation. They are betting that you will close this video, return to the distraction of the world, and forget these words when the next wave of anxiety hits. Prove them wrong. I want you to test the resistance immediately. You might feel a subtle urge not to engage, to just scroll away. That is the interference. Push through it. First, anchor this frequency into the physical realm right now. Go to the comments and write light and stillness. Do not just type it. Type it. Let your physical action declare to the algorithm and to the ether that you are no longer a food source. Let the other chosen ones see your mark. Second, leave a like on this video. Not for vanity, but for visibility. This teaching is constantly suppressed by the noise of the matrix. Every like acts as a signal flare, hacking the algorithm to push this weapon into the hands of another soul who is currently under attack. And finally, if you are ready for the deeper deprogramming, the advanced codes that we cannot share with the general public, subscribe to the channel. We are building a sanctuary for the pneumatics, the ones who remember. Tonight, when the shadows lengthen, and you feel that familiar pressure trying to squeeze the life out of your chest, do not shrink. Do not analyze. Do not beg. Stop. Breathe. And speak. Light. And stillness. Watch the darkness collapse. Not because you fought it, but because you finally remembered that shadows cannot exist where you stand. You are the weapon. You are the cure. Be the light. Be the stillness. The transmission is complete. The power is yours.